Habari ma Africa. Every generation needs a political party that speaks to the generational mission for that generation. And in South Africa, the EFF came at the right time with the right slogan, the right name to say we need economical freedom right now. And they put it nicely. They said in our lifetime. So they said we don't want to fight for something that is to come. We want to fight for something that is coming now. Now the EFF has evolved over the past few years, dramatically so in 2024, especially after the elections, with the departure of a few people, credible leaders that have left the EFF. The latest is Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, but also Ufana Mkwena has also left the EFF. I'm asking myself, should we then come down and sit and ask, is there something wrong with the EFF leadership? And when I say leadership, I'm speaking about Julius Malema. People say, no, King, these people, they come into politics for different reasons. They are free to go. And I say, okay, they are free to go. But people leaving a political party say something about you. The ANC ignored people leaving them. And look how much they paid. Now the EFF wants to do the same mistake? I don't think so. I want us to talk about these people departing from the EFF. And also, Usinao Tambo has taken, has taken a request to the Public Protector's Office to investigate this trip of Paris of Gate and McKenzie. Is there something there, or is just the EFF trying to fight the poor men? The excited minister. Let's talk about that and much more.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
You see that when you start a political party, you are joined by two people, activists and careerists. Now, when they see that there are no positions, careerists will leave, activists will remain.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I'm your host, Kagiso Hlongwane Zinjiva Sono, Mr. Easy Imale Nengi, and we're back at it again with another one. And guys, there is EFF needs to make a true reflection on itself, introspection. I don't know what you guys call it, but you need to sit down going into the next People's Assembly in December. I think this People's Assembly that is coming in December has got a potential to make more damage than good coming out of that elective conference. Also, the clip that I just played you to say, when you start a political party, you are joined by careerists and activists. I've seen that many people who went to the EFF are actually careerists, and it looks like now they're getting exposed. But is there something even deeper, to people leaving the political party? I believe so. I believe that careerists, when they're happy, they stay. When they are utilized properly, they stay. Busisiwe Mkhwebane complains, says, I feel like I'm not used optimally with my expertise. That's a very, very valid concern from Busisiwe Mkhwebane. So, I have learned yesterday that Ufani Mkwena is also left. Ufana Mkwena is also left. My issue with him is that he's a member of parliament. And because everyone who leaves politics, we're just going to assume that they are leaving for MK. Could MK really make space for Ufana Mkwena? Really? I want to take you guys back to his first address in Parliament. And the way he was speaking about the national, the apartheid flag and the stem and all of those things, he draws some attention towards him because he was speaking valid points that day.
In this country in which we have a so-called national anthem that still bears the hallmarks of apartheid. And in a situation in which we've gotten rid of the flag, the apartheid flag, it's peculiar that we get rid of the flag, but we keep the anthem. The two go together. They go together. You raise the flag so that you can sing the anthem. It is impossible for us to get rid of the one and then keep the other. The stem needs to go. It is not to say we need to get rid of Afrikaans. We can find a replacement of Afrikaans, but the stem needs to go. It is offensive. It needs to go. But let me give a background. Let me give a background.
Honorable members.
Yeah, ever since EFF has been boycotting the Afrikaans part of the national anthem, it challenged me also as a person to say, are you going to sing the national anthem, also the Afrikaans part? And also I made a video about it when this video was trending, to say, where does the stem come from? Who wrote the stem and all of those things? I took you guys back as to this thing comes from way back. I think it was before 1920 when the guy wrote it. It was a poet that wrote it, the stem. So I said anything that was made and written before 1994, especially by the Afrikaner regime, I don't support. So it challenged me also, because I knew the stem very well, So it was so refreshing hearing this type of views, especially in Parliament, challenging us, And it's up to you if you want to sing it or what you want to do, They say we are a rainbow nation, so you decide. Now, my question with Ufana is, he's a member of Parliament. He's earning 1.2, 1.3 million rand per month. Probably he's got a family. He was one of the founding members of the EFF, meaning he was there when the EFF was founded in the beginning. He was there from day one. You understand what I'm saying? So, why then leave the EFF? Why? Is the problem in the EFF so much that a person can leave a 1.4 salary, 1.4 million salary, and say, I'm okay, I'm just going to walk away? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. You're working, you've got accounts, you've got family to take care of and everything, and you say, I'm gonna go. What is it that is pushing these people to live like this? Us who voted the EFF but are not the members of EFF, we have the freedom to ask, is there something wrong with Julius Malema? If you are an EFF member, you can't say that. You can't say that. You'll be called in your branch and be disciplined. That is why some of us, we don't want to be involved in these political things. Because your freedom of speech is limited. Is there something wrong that Julius Malema? Because that's what I picked up when Ubusio Mkovane spoke with Ahman. There's something, she said one sentence, she said, I felt like I've been set there in the corner and not been used optimally. I'm like, hey man, why is she saying that, this one? Did she want to go to the JSC? What is the issue? And people say, no, the MK has taken Busisiwe to replace Dr. John Hlophe. If the MK honestly wanted someone to replace Dr. John Hlophe, for me, get Ntwenyo, Mogoeng. He has shown interest in politics, and I think he will take that job. Get Mogoeng if you really want to take someone there to replace Dr. John Hlophe. Busisiwe Mkhwebane is not a perfect replacement for Dr. John Hlophe in the JSC, if you understand what I'm saying. But anyways, we have to come to a point where we become honest, because on the comment section, people are saying, King, let these people go. They were never with us anyway. Let them go. That's the problem I'm having. You are attracting people that were never with you. And people that don't understand politics say that politics depends on votes. Votes depends on individuals. Individuals then attract crowds. If I leave the EFF can say our king is nothing. But I have influence to 7 people that I can tell don't vote EFF. You understand? In my family, my wife will say, EFF has done you wrong. I'm not going to vote for the EFF. My brother can say that. My mother can say that. My 2 sisters can say that. You guys think that there's only one person living, but that person lives probably with 7-8 votes minimum. So every person that leaves, the number of votes is going down. And when those numbers go down and those people remain voting, it means the numbers of another political party will go up. And we are assuming that party is Umkhonto weSizwe. So it's never good. The lady who was the chairperson of Limpopo also left. The chairperson of Limpopo of the EFF also left for the MK party. And people said, she's a nobody. I said, listen, that person is probably living with more than 50 votes. She might not be famous, she might not be, but every person that lives has got an influence to a minimum of 7 people that are not ever going to vote for the EFF because they are unhappy with this leader. You guys correct me on the comment section if I'm saying something that is out of order. But for me, I know. Someone leaves you in politics, their family will never vote for that party again. Their wives, their whoever, they will never vote for that party again. You guys understand what I'm saying? So it's not a good thing that people are leaving. Especially when people leave and don't give us a reason. Now we have to sit here, make videos assuming why is it that they have left and all of those things. I know. It's like they know the reason. If they say the reason, it's gonna break the EFF even further. So for respect purposes, they don't say the reason, because there can only be one reason that they don't say, and that's the CIC. And one day, one of these people that are going to leave, especially now with the National Assembly, what is going to happen after, I think we're going to get the reason. People are going to come out and say, no, the reason I left is because the CIC did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I don't agree with him, and that's why I left. We're going to get bold people leaving, and they're going to say things, because our Floyd never told us why. They just said it's a political move. And indeed, it was a political move, but it was triggered by something that happened in the EFF. And you cannot be proud that the EFF is losing members. Let them go. They were fake. They are careerists. Even a political party attracts different type of people. Fans that are just in love with one pillar of the EFF. fans that are following Mbuisane Ndlozi, supporters that are following Julius Malema, supporters that follow the constitution of the party, supporters that want a career in the EFF. You attract a different type of people. You cannot be proud to know the careerists are leaving your party. The careerists, most of them are qualified that you're going to need in the future. I don't know. And there's so much happening in the EFF. Who's now Temba is taken, but one Gaten McKenzie to the public protector's office to say there might be some investigation that is needed there of corruption and all of that. And I'm thinking, hey, man, you trust the public protector's office. You actually have confidence in the public protector's office. Let's listen to Snao quickly.
Mr. Tambo, thanks for your time. So what forms the basis of the EFF's complaint to Parliament, given that you heard Minister McKenzie saying he did nothing wrong?
Look, thank you and greetings to your listeners. I think Minister McKenzie thinks governance is his social media platforms, and he's responding and deflecting to immaterial things and telling us about how he can afford flights. That's not what is in question here. What is in question is whether he's stuck to the code of ethics which governs both members of parliament and members of the executive, and whether he's stuck to the ministerial handbook, which we believe he has not. So the basis of our complaint is that he has misused taxpayers' money, he's misused public funds on exorbitant costs, 400,000 for ground travel, 215,000 rand for flights, taking about 8 officials with him when the ministerial handbook he's referring to, which I doubt he has read, prescribes that he could only take 2 members of his support staff or special advisors with him. This is the basis of our complaint against him. So he's referring to a ministerial handbook in terms of comparing business class and economy class. You can see he's preoccupied with very frivolous and childish things, and he doesn't understand the law that governs him. And today as well, second, I'd like to add, we've just reported him to the public protector as well. So we're going to ensure that he's held accountable and that taxpayers' money is not misused by self-centered individuals who use public platforms to brag about how they can afford flights. He used taxpayers' money, misused it, and he must account for that.
So with regard to what you've just mentioned about approaching the public protector's office on this very matter, so what is it that you want the public protector to look into?
Look, the public protector must also look into what we think are material discrepancies in the public communications that Gaten McKenzie has been making. So he's been frequently sharing communications between himself and the acting director general of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. And the discrepancies are there in terms of figures of how much was spent on this travel, on accommodation, and on everything else related to his trip to the Olympics. But also there's a discrepancy in terms of how it is dated, which shows you the clumsiness of what we think is a cover-up. Because he wrote a request to the DG saying that he wants it to be explained to him what this expenditure was, why it was that high. And then the DG responds, and then he puts it up on social media, but the response is dated 10th of October, 5 days before he even requested this. Leave that alone. He's been the one who's been going on social media making contradictory statements to the very same parliamentary response he made to the DAMP who asked him whether he went to the Olympics and how much was spent there. So the numbers from his parliamentary response, from his request to the DG, from the response to the DG have material discrepancies, have date discrepancies, and it reveals to us that there's something much more sinister going on that must be investigated at the level of the public protector.
Well, we'll have to leave it there for today, but no doubt we'll follow the story and follow up as it unfolds.
One thing I agree there with now is that Gaten McKenzie's social media, these lives that he does on social media, his posts and everything are going to get him in trouble, just the way they got Donald Trump in trouble. You cannot be a politician that gets too excited on social media platforms. You cannot. And Gaten is contradicting himself on other things and everything. But one thing I know is that because I travel a lot with my work, guys, these people, they spend millions monthly on traveling and claims monthly it's millions. These politicians, especially the ministers, they are always on the road. They are always on the road. They are never in their office. They are always on the road. MECs, ministers, all of those people, they are always on the road. especially the political appointees. They are always on the road. They don't sit still. They are traveling. And going overseas is expensive. Yes, Gayton McKenzie might have made a mistake of not taking 2 people that he was supposed to take and took a little bit more. And that's why those costs are like that. But I'm telling you, it is nothing out of the ordinary. When you look at other ministers and you compare them to what Gayton has spent, you'll realize that they spend more. They spend more than Gayton. For him to stay there one day and not attend the Paris, for me, it's like the fights that I want the EFF to fight is the issues of the land, the issues of the pala, those type of issues. Because I think like they don't even protect each other that much, and the EFF is big to say, listen, you have to protect the image of the EFF. But I think the reason why Busisiwe Mkhwebane has slacked is because she didn't felt fully protected by the political party. And I don't know, man. I'm getting a bad taste with this thing here. Yeah, the People's Assembly, the elective conference in December. I'm getting a bad taste. The EFF does not have too many options for this deputy president seat. It's going to be Umphile Mautwe or it's going to be Marshall Dlamini. There isn't another person that I see that is fit for that for deputy president. Umbuyiseni Ndlozi is not going to be a good deputy president paired up with Julius Malema. Stop it, guys. Umbuyiseni Ndlozi can be a good national person, spokesperson. I'm not sure about secretary, maybe also there, but not a deputy president, no. And I love Umbuyiseni Ndlozi to bits, but he's not going to be a good deputy president working with Julius. It is going to be some type of they're not going to accommodate each other properly. For me, that's what I think about Umbuyiseni Ndlozi. I think he can be better used in other portfolios. And if they go into that elective conference and come out and Dr. Umbuyiseni Ndlozi is not in the top 6, I don't know how the EFF is going to work that one out. For the next 5 years again, you don't have Dr. Umbuyiseni Ndlozi in the top 6. No, it's gonna be an error. But you guys will tell me what you think about all of that. The EFF is fighting. It's fighting, the Pala issue. I'm happy that they brought it up again. Even the MK wants to do a private prosecution and all of that. That thing of Pala must not be left because our state is captured. If the MPA can say, no, we don't want to prosecute anyone, so they dropping even the people that stole the money. Because that case is postponed to something November. We will see what's going to happen. Is the judge going to drop the case? What is going to happen? Are we just going to ignore that there was money in dollars, in foreign currency that was there? I don't know. But the CIC has always told us that this issue of Pala will never go away. And it looks like it's true. The issue of Pala continuously follows Cyril Ramaphosa forever. And he needs to make plans right now because it's going to overshadow his presidential race term, especially the second term. If it bombs somewhere there towards the last of when he finishes his term, it's not gonna look good. But for me, I would have stepped aside because I don't see the ANC improving in the 2026 local elections. I don't see the ANC improving. But let's wait and see, because another thing that is boring about the elections is that they are not a true reflection of what the people are saying, because the IEC is also compromised, So we always said as Pan-Africanists that you will never beat the master using the master's tool. This IEC, this voting nonsense, all of those things are the master's tools. We are just playing in their game, playing into their hands, if you know what I'm trying to say. We're never going to get freedom and independence, our land back through a ballot paper. And that's the honest truth, you see. So we're just pretending actually to say, the MK will grow, the MK will win the elections. It's just a pretendance. It's not going to happen, my people. Unfortunately, I have to tell you that. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan-Africanism. I salute you.